Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the show. You are listening to Punch Counterpunch from the Wannabe Network. It's been a while since we've been here, Ethan, and it feels weird to even say those words, that this is Punch Counterpunch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the show again?
Yeah, Punch Counterpunch. I mean,
It's been a while.
it has been a while. It's right, it's like, how long has it been since our last show? Like 4 months, something like that?
Oh, longer than that.
Really?
Yeah, I think we had a couple 3 months where we didn't do one, so we did a catch up in May after I got back from my cruise, and that was the last show we did. So it's been 6 months at least.
Yeah. I mean, is it safe to say that life happens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is exactly what has happened. Now, I have, up until this month, have kind of kept things going with my show, but even that is like, it's getting hard to cut out that time to do it. I've had friends that have come on and have done the show, but really, I've been wanting to do it with Ryan, but life's happened for Ryan, and he's completely snowed under with his projects and whatnot. So yeah, it's in this spot where you got busy, Ryan's busy. I can't say I'm busy, but let's just say I'm busy. And
yeah,
well, and I am, as we'll catch up. I've been
Right.
busy, but it's not for important things.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And like, I don't know, it's not also from a lack of not wanting to get together. Like, I think we've wanted to get together for a while now, but it's just like, this is supposed to be a news show, and like, it's hard for me to want to take the time to try and find topics that are already, it's like, there's nothing in the news that's really worth talking about, and the people that do it professionally, they're already doing that. So it's like, it'd be different if I was just another voice. It's like something big happens in like Blizzard or something like that. We all kind of chime in and like throw our 2 cents out there because that's a big deal. There's no big deals happening right now at all, really, that I can think of. I mean, gaming, I mean, we have the Game Awards, but like, whoop-de-doo. Like, there's literally nothing. Like, they'll have to do something. Like, I'm hoping maybe this Game Awards will be grandiose enough to where like, it'll get me excited for the next few years of gaming. Because right now it's like, I'm not excited for anything gaming wise. Like, there's nothing. Like, my pile of shame backlog is so, I mean, it is truly shameful. I'm not even gonna lie
Massive.
to you. Yeah,
Massive.
it's bad.
Yeah, so like, I took a peek at my headlines this morning thinking, is there something I can bring to the conversation tonight? And the lead headline was basically just detailing in numbers the carnage of this year for tech firms and the layoffs that have taken place since January, and just graphs. And this is not things I want to talk about. It's not pleasant. It's not nice. It's as a result of what we all know, the economy is terrible right now, for most of us. And, it's, talking about it isn't going to bring me any happiness. There's nothing exciting for me about it, And so, yeah. And that's just kind of what's out there. And nothing has really struck me as something I want to talk about. It's kind of one of the reasons why I quit my original Age of Geek show. And now that, now that Geekly Retrospect has a different format and something different to look at from month to month, that's cool. And it's something I can be excited about and talk about when I put those shows together. Yeah, the news front is really bleak right now.
Yeah, it's not, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, I just don't want to talk about any of it. Like, there's nothing exciting to talk about. And the things that I'd normally be excited to talk about, like, I'm sick of, and it's just frustrating. And we're going to get into that a little bit, but you know, like I'm glad to see that we can just pick up right where we left off, though, you know, podcasting wise, because it's like I'm already like in the zone, ready to go and like have this discussion. Like we're obviously thinking similar
Hey,
things.
hold on. Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Now I'm in the zone.
Nice. What do you? Yeah. Okay. Bourbon Bros. What are you drinking there?
Cheap bourbon. That's
Really?
what I'm drinking.
Because the economy's bad.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'm enjoying. I don't really mess around these days. You know, I almost died, Ethan. That's how I view it. So I like to live life in the fast lane now. So I'm not even messing around. This is just a 2-liter of Sprite Zero.
Zero sugar Sprite. Yeah.
Dude,
Okay.
I'll tell you. So about last year, me and Emma, I started buying Dr. Pepper Zero, you know, and I just kept buying. I was like, man, this tastes a lot like just regular Dr. Pepper, honestly. So I kept trying these, you know, like the zero, not diet, but like zero sugar stuff specifically. And I'll tell you, it's a game changer because I've been drinking zero sugar soda now, and I didn't have any last night at work. So I went to go get a regular Sprite, and I took one drink out of that regular Sprite, and bro, I felt sick to my stomach, like I was gonna die. And it's kind of funny, you know, we weren't actually like back in the 30s and 40s, like refined sugar like wasn't a thing. Like, like you'd be lucky if like your neighbor had like a little bit of like molasses or something that they could like loan you, and like that's what you would sweeten your stuff with. But like you didn't have white table sugar, like that wasn't a thing. So just like since I learned that, and it's like, oh my god, like that hasn't always been a thing. It's really made me like freak out about sugar. Like I very rarely consume sugary things now. It's just so funny.
It's good to be conscious of it. Don't let it consume you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, say that.
But no, there's definite benefits because anywhere where you could put sugar on something, I've cut all of that out. So if I have a bowl of cereal, I don't put a tablespoon of sugar on it like I used to, you know.
Right.
And in my coffee, I stopped putting sugar in my coffee. I just drink it straight black. No creamer, no nothing. A little bit of rum chata if I've got it in the house and it's a day off, you know, I'll do that. But anywhere where you add sugar to something, I just quit doing it. And then the sodas, I have cut way back on soda, and it makes a huge difference, mentally and physically.
Yeah, it really does. And it's like, you know, whenever you go back to it, it's like, man, and you know, I was telling Emma, like, you know, whenever it's payday, we go through Chick-fil-A, like on payday, like we get off at 6:00 in the morning, like we're hitting up Chick-fil-A breakfast, and like I might get a Coke. You know, I'm not like never gonna have sugar soda again, but we just don't keep it in the house.
Well, treat yourself.
You know.
Yeah,
exactly. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. So, anyways, okay, Bourbon Bros over. I'm not even having any alcohol, but you know, whatever. Hey, thanks so much for showing up. If this is your first time here, I would really appreciate it if you consider subscribing. It would seriously mean a lot. A fun fact for you, many YouTubers actually get most of their numbers from people who are not subscribed. So if you enjoy my personality, if you enjoy the content you've seen here, consider subscribing. I would seriously, seriously appreciate it. It just, dude, it makes me sad, but I just don't have the taste like I used to for bourbon, whiskey, like of any kind, really, at the moment. I mainly, if I drink alcohol, it's either beer or wine. I know, like, it's just funny how, like, once you get, you know, I was drinking whiskey probably almost every day, and you just don't realize, like, how it affects you, like, mentally, you know. So I just, it's been about a year now. I've cut, I don't really drink liquor at all anymore, but, you know, I'll have a cocktail every now and then, but, like, I'll have a cocktail every now and then, but I just, ever since I got on antidepressants, like I just can't do it.
I was gonna say there's a big reason for that, and you're smart. You're smart to be cutting back like that. Yeah, good man.
But anyways, thank you. I feel like we're a fine gentleman because Ethan called me a man. Anyways, all right, Ethan, let's get into the show. So I want to just throw a fastball at you right now and say, what happened to going to the movies and having a good time?
Oh man, no kidding. I'm actually.
Go ahead.
I'm going to the movies this weekend. I'll just state that right now. The new Godzilla minus one is out tonight, actually, and was going to go tonight, but then you said you hit me up this week earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing a thing already.
Right.
So I'm going tomorrow, and this will be my first trip back to the movie theater. Yeah, post COVID. I don't. Oh no! I did go see the Super Mario Brothers movie. I did go to the theater for that. That's the only movie I've seen in theater, and this will be the second time I'm going back. And I'm probably going by myself. I don't know if Eli's going to go with me or not. We'll find out. But yeah, it's not a thing anymore. Not when you have streaming services coming out with it a month, 2 months after it's released in theaters.
Yeah,
or digitally, when it's coming out digitally.
I mean, it's like, it's funny. Like, I thought that the movie theater, it's like, yeah, like if you go and see an amazing movie, like that's great, but like you would go for like the experience, like you're excited, like you get the popcorn, you do the stuff, like it's an experience, and to me makes your viewing of the movie even better. Like if you're in a good mindset, you're enjoying like some comforts, and then you watch like an amazing movie, it's like, oh wow, like you love that movie from then on out. Post COVID, I went to the theater over 60 or 70 times for sure. Whenever I was an Alamo member, like I was going a couple times a week there for a little bit to see things that I legitimately wanted to see. And it was like, I only got so much serotonin, and it's like, yeah, most of these movies suck. And the movies that I really, really enjoyed, that I wouldn't, I wouldn't talk about them in mixed company. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, it's not like the good old days where like everyone's like going to see the same movies. Like there's nothing to like unify like the masses anymore. I mean, Avatar, that was like probably the closest thing, but like, I mean, there hasn't been like a moment in cinema for a while now, to me. I bet there's going to be people that would argue Oppenheimer and Barbie, but like
that'll be on that is on the short list, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
I mean, still have not seen either of those movies.
Me either.
Yeah. So we have lines that even if we've never seen the movie, we know because they show up in pop culture. So when I say "show me the money," we all know what movie I'm referencing, right?
Exactly.
And anybody starts talking about a movie they've seen in the last 2-3 years, I'm lost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it may be their favorite reference. I have no clue. But here's the other thing. I'm not hearing a lot of people quoting movies, even people that are in the know. Movies are not quotable like they used to be.
Nope.
The smartness in writing feels like it has drained from entertainment. I think in a large part.
I think I know the reason, and I think I would argue that the number one moneymaker is nostalgia. And
True.
I think, there was a time period based on technology, like you could only stagger so much nostalgia, or like it only made so much sense. Like whenever Star Wars came back, like the nostalgia started coming back, like whether you wanted it to or not, because all of a sudden everyone's talking about Star Wars, and people who don't know anything about Star Wars, like you're talking to them about it, and it's like all of a sudden you're reinvigorated for this thing you really like.
Yeah.
Everything is just it's not about telling a good story anymore. And like,
no, it's about selling tickets.
It's about selling tickets and selling tickets only. And I say nostalgia is the killer of modern entertainment in so many ways, because I'm seeing it across every medium. So on TikTok, like whenever you're trying to like a hype moment, a lot of people use the Thanos snap. Like that is an iconic moment that people are going to be using forever to meme stuff and do whatever. Like that's an amazing moment, right? But I agree with you. Like since Endgame, what has there been where we all just kind of unitedly come together and be like, yes, right?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, and I'm not saying it's all Hollywood's fault. It's not. I think a large part of it is coming out of post-pandemic. The way people want to spend their time and how they spend their time has fundamentally shifted. And so when take for instance this Godzilla movie. I'm a big kaiju movie fan. I would have had a conversation with a couple of other friends that I know are into it, and pre-pandemic, certainly 2014, when Godzilla came out in the theaters, I went to the theater a couple of times with friends, right? We made the time to do that together. And now everyone's so busy, and it's just hard to dial a friend up, for me anyway. I know it's not that way for everybody, but it does seem to be kind of the trend because audience is dwindling. But it's hard for me to dial up a friend and say, hey, Godzilla's out Friday night, let's go. Because I know where my friends are at, and they're busy, right? So I just end up making the choice. I'll just stay in, and I'll go when I feel like it,
Yeah.
And I think lifestyle, it has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I think and you can't fault people for having busy lives, obviously, or at least having busy times in their lives. And I think there's times where all of your friends have busy lives at exactly the same time. It's like, wow, I texted you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in the past couple months, and you've said nothing, And I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating a little bit, but it does make you worry, because it's you just hope they're okay. You hope that they're not being swallowed by this black hole that is life, and that they won't forget that you exist, and it's yeah, dial me up and let's go see a movie sometime. You know what I mean? I wish those times, I wish it was pre-COVID, how it used to be, kind of like what you're talking about. But, it's funny, even in the video game world, right now in Fortnite, it's the OG season, the OG map, the first ever Battle Royale map that was out on Fortnite. And, the player count is the highest it's ever been right now. And me knowing how, obviously, we should everyone's super excited. And I don't want to poop on anyone's excitement. They are only doing this to figure out how they can exploit your love of nostalgia to make more money. That's the only reason. And it's sad that, I don't know, it kind of ruins the fun, because now it's yeah, no one puts out anything honest-hearted anymore because they actually want to. They just want to make money. So, yeah. I don't know. I wanted to get your thoughts on. Go ahead.
Let's talk about that then, because we both have in our past a gaming franchise that we both at various times or together have loved, that has fallen by the wayside because it fell victim to trying to gain players back with nostalgia and trying to mix in new, but epically failing at all of it. And I'm referring to 343 and Halo Infinite. Some will say that Infinite is riding the ship and that it's getting better. That's great. But the fact is they had one shot to get a massive player base back immediately, and they fumbled it. And that is still carrying forward to today. And that's just a microcosm of what you're describing, Fortnite and Call of Duty. All of these games are experiencing what to me is the curve is flattening, isn't it? And people are looking for something different now. And that's why you're seeing a rise in, this has been a very good year for new titles, IP that hasn't already been mined before, right? Bethesda has come out with Starfield, and I know it's split, but I really liked it. I enjoyed my experience in it. I've moved on, but I'll revisit that game. But that was something different. Other titles, Deliver Us Mars. I'm currently enjoying that game. The Invincible, that was a great game and very short. I didn't have to waste a month of my game time, my precious game time, to enjoy that experience. There are those experiences out there, but the problem is, I don't know anyone else that's playing those titles other than Starfield. Right? So I'm experiencing this and I'm enjoying myself, but I'm singular in the experience. And there's not a lot of other people that I know that I can talk to about it. And so it does. You find those games and you're great and you can talk about them with friends, but really you're isolated.
Yeah,
And so even though we're out of pandemic, we're all kind of doing our own thing, and we're all kind of isolated still.
Yeah.
And that is gaming, that is entertainment right now.
And it's a double-edged sword because, like, you know, when you have enough time to yourself, like, you can kind of actually like discover what you actually like, rather than, it's like there's things that we would podcast about. It's like not everyone loves X, Y, and Z, but they'll consume it so that they can be a part of the conversation. And I think that's what's been lacking. And I think I'm kind of echoing what you're saying. It's like, I'm just not excited to talk about anything except those few things. Like right now, I'm playing Elden Ring, and that's, kind of old news. That's kind of old news at this point. But, like the person that finally convinced me to play it, it's like, I've been texting them, but it's like, now they don't want to talk about it because they've moved on from it already. Right. So it's like,
yeah.
So it's like, and it is funny. It can be isolating. And I think if I didn't have a website where I could like put a blog out just randomly, whether someone reads it or not, just for me, if I didn't have that, I would go nuts. Like, and it is a double-edged sword, because it's good to like figure out what you like, because if you really, really like something, likely you'll be happy to appreciate it repeated times. Like, especially if it's an RPG or something, or, a shooter you really like or whatever. Once I find what I really like, I'm really kind of apt to just stick to that, like the same 10 to 20 bands. Like, I'll venture out every once in a while. Every once in a great while, a band will pique my interest, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this band now, right? Like, there's all those things, but the days of everyone just kind of like being okay with letting the conversation be what it is, and I mean, it just feels like those days are kind of over, in a way. Like, no one gets along online anymore. Like, everything, the console war nonsense is still like,
how is that still being discussed?
I don't understand. It's like, dude, just
okay, let's just say it. Sony won. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
Do your thing. Who cares?
It's like yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, if you had to say, it's not even worth talking about. But it's everything just feels very disjointed, and I do think it's good to like figure out what your taste is and be confident in that. That way, whenever it does come up, you find someone else. It's like, oh yeah, I like that game too. Like, you can have that connection now or whatever. But yeah, I miss the days where everyone just kind of, whether you wanted to talk about it or not, like, you just showed up and like whatever happened.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a taste of it a little bit when Starfield came out, because you were playing, I was playing. We had a few text messages over it. We were able to discuss it with Jacob Bush. We all knew it was going to hit. It hit. We all were able to experience it at roughly the same time. It's been a long time since I've experienced a game like that. And it scratches a little bit of that itch. You feel like you're a part of, even though you're not directly involved in playing with someone else, you feel like you're a part of a community, right? And you're right, that a large part of that feels like it's kind of dispersed enough. There's enough places to go on your own that it has that isolating effect. And yeah, it can be a bother. That said, it's important for you to recognize, if you feel like you are that far disconnected, find something that's going to connect you with a larger community. And I know, like for myself, one thing that has really come to the forefront, and that's tabletop gaming. And I've been able to host a couple of parties at my house now with various people. Some people I haven't rolled dice with at all, and have brought them in to play Firefly, the board game that I've played that for years, and it's just been a phenomenally refreshing experience. And I didn't realize how much I wanted it until you have that anticipation of everybody showing up, and the board game is out on the table and everything is in its place, and you know what's about to go down. And there's people in the group that don't know what's about to go down. You're about to explain it to them. They're about to experience this for the first time. And then you have those moments that I know they're coming, and then they hit and everybody has a laugh, and it's it's moments like those that remind you what it means to stay connected, to stay a part of a community. And it fuels you for the next time. And, I'm enjoying that cycle right now of, picking weekends where 4 or 5 people can get together and let's throw dice, let's fly a ship. Let's build a crew,
Yeah.
let the Reavers attack us.
Right.
Keep flying, and it's, I've been enjoying that. And hopefully you and Emma involved in that here for too long. But,
yeah, we want to play. It's just been hard to connect, but she's down because it is funny. Like there's, especially for that type of gaming, there's no other game really that like brings that type of joy. Every once in a while you get in like a big party of Sea of Thieves with a few friends, and like it's just kind of whatever. That's kind of how tabletop gaming feels to me, or it can feel, because it's like. Everyone's just there. You're just there to play and have a good time. Like
it's a shared experience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's special. But, I think there's a lot of people that, and this is something I'll share, something that I've realized recently. We've been in kind of a forced, isolated position recently, just with our work situation, our routine and things like that. And whenever you're in a situation like that, you kind of move in waves where you're down, you do nothing. After a tragedy's happened, you're down, you're doing nothing. You're just trying to figure out what normal looks like. And then slowly but surely you start to actually mentally get back to the things that make, make you part of who you are. Like here we are. This is the first podcast that we're doing since I lost my house. I've been working on music. I haven't worked on music in a long time, and it feels good to be in those headspaces again and like have kind of that creative hunger again. But now it's like I've learned a lesson from last time though. It's like you're more like focused on those things. And that's been giving me a deeper sense of fulfillment, which I think can help you to be around other people, like whatever your thing is, whether it's a game or music or your job or whatever, like that thing that is like right in front of you. It's like a dangling carrot, but it's going to be a challenge. Like you should run to that challenge, I think. And like challenge yourself every time, because likely you'll overcome the challenge. And then it's like, oh, that's a success. So then eventually you can get to the point to where like you can be around people again and like be yourself again, because that's what Emma and I've been talking about that. But a lot of people are afraid to take that step to like feel fulfilled. So I think if there's anyone out there listening and you feel like you're not fulfilling something, whether it be a personal venture or whatever, it literally never hurts to just practice. That's kind of how I view everything I put out. Like it's just all practice. Every blog, every podcast, every video, like it should be, that's like my truth. Like I put it out because that's how I feel. It's like part of expressing yourself. So,
how old are you now? You're 27?
I'm
28. Okay, 28. So, you are probably well aware now of this point of the cyclical nature of our moods and how we function. And everybody's different. I understand that. But it doesn't matter if you're an outgoing person or an introvert or a musician or a gamer, or it doesn't matter what you are. Everything goes in cycles, right? And you're coming off of you're at you've scraped the bottom of that barrel uh, pretty hard as far as changes and how that will drag you down and keep you under for perhaps longer than you wanted to be. Um, we all go through it. And I'm not saying that in a way that mitigates what you've had to deal with, because I know it's been rough for the last few months. I'm not speaking directly to your situation. Just saying in general, we all have to deal with that down cycle. And if you're coming up from that, then that's awesome, and that's only going to benefit our ability to get together and game or podcast or whatever. And so I'm encouraged by that. And if your interest goes more toward music, that's fine. I look forward to hearing that music. It's there's benefits not just to yourself. You have friends out here that are waiting to hear from you as well. So it's encouraging.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I kind of view it as like there were a lot of lights that I got to turn off for a long time, for 4 or 5 years that I didn't have to turn on for a long time. And those lights really needed to be on, So now I'm starting to see some of those lights come back on again. And it's like, oh, okay. Like you're just, trying to find that normal again. So I appreciate you saying that. And, the music, I kind of view it, it kind of hit me one day. I was working on something, and I've always been like so worried about how my songs might be perceived by other people, like, oh, if I'm going to put this out, like I want people to like it. I don't care. I don't care anymore. I'm going to put music out that I like. Like I want to have music of mine that I made that I like, that I can just like go to Spotify and listen to, and like I can learn from myself, like if you make something you like, you put it out. I was showing a workmate last night a demo I was working on, and like just to see their reaction and like see them light up, I was like, well, there's my one person that likes it. Like that's all the validation I need. And it wasn't even done yet. It was like actually not even close to being done. It's still not even close to being done, but like it was just that little hint that gave me enough confidence to keep working on it. So like whenever I put out music now, it's like, yeah, when it's done, it's done. It's going to come out of nowhere. I'm just going to be like, hey, here's this thing. And like, I still want to like podcasting, content creation. I think it all kind of goes hand in hand. It all kind of intertwines. And I've learned a lot about all the different projects I've worked on the past few years to put me in this next phase now of like what I want to do. And it's a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. Like this is just what it is right now. So it feels good to be, actively creating, but like it also feels good to know that I'm not having 3 or 4 people, wondering if they're going to hear from me, if we're going to be podcasting this week. It's also nice to know that I won't have multiple podcasts scheduled, every week.
It's really nice. Yeah. It's really nice to have a hobby where you're not under pressure.
Yeah.
That's, and it's important. It's important to have that, because if you don't feel like doing it, and you're not getting paid to do it, then if you don't want to do it, don't do it. And that's kind of been our philosophy. We talked about that going into this whole thing, and we went guns a-blazing there for quite a few months. Pandemic made it really easy, but we're past that now, and our lives are busy. And if we feel like taking 6 months and not doing a podcast, it's going to happen. And if we feel like doing 3 or 4 or 5 months back to back to back,
we'll do it.
Awesome. But don't necessarily get comfortable with that.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and that if you're subscribed to this podcast feed, like there's multiple shows here. I've been talking with other people, because I don't want to start up a show or start doing a show again that I can't have a plan for, and that I can't have everyone on board with that plan, where it's like, back whenever it was me, Mikey, Caleb, and Ryan, it was just like we all had it. We were all like, it was like clockwork. We just all had it. We all knew Thursday from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. or 10 p.m., whatever, like we're going to record from that time. And we were all set in that. So that's really what I'd like to get back to. But like on a smaller scale, I'd like to just have something out every other week on this podcast feed, whether it's a Punch Counterpunch, a Geekly Retrospect, a Gabe and Emma, or something else.
Yeah.
It would just be amazing to have, a few, and then, it'd also be nice to like have months where it's like we're on break for a month or two. Like,
Yeah.
you'll hear from us back in whatever, but you don't know what that's going to look like until you just do it. And that's the challenge of this all. It's like, I know I want to do something with all of this. I don't know how much time it's going to take, but I do know that if I keep practicing and putting stuff out and keep looking for opportunities, something's going to happen. Like that's just, it just will, So it does, but you're right. It does feel good to be like, yeah, I'll make something, like I'll film something when I want. I'll edit it when I want. I'll do what I want. If I feel like I can get everything done in one day, I will. But if I can't, whatever.
Did you ever watch the movie What About Bob?
A long time ago. And Bill Murray, right?
And Bill Murray, yeah.
Yeah,
but
a long time ago.
There's the line in there that reminds me of, it's when Bill Murray's getting out of the house. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps to the front door. Baby steps down the stairs.
Right.
Baby steps to the street,
Yeah.
And that's it. Set those small goals.
Right.
And if they feel worthwhile in hitting those goals, keep at it,
Yeah.
That's
right.
We all have to do that with a variety of things.
I hear you, Ethan. And that's why I love doing this show, because it's like most people, if they were serious podcasters, they'd be like, yeah, no, I don't want to do a show if we don't have a schedule. And it's like, well, I guess we're not doing a show.
I've never been a serious podcaster then.
Yep, there you have it. So that's
seriously. This has been one of the best hobbies for me, and it's one of the ones that I've stuck with the longest, right? One thing I've realized about myself, my dad, when I was younger, said I was a Renaissance man. And I was like, whatever. I didn't fully appreciate what he was insinuating. Now that I'm older, yeah, I'll embrace that. It could, because next month, I may not want a podcast ever again.
Right.
It's just, it's going to happen because something else has got my interest.
Right.
And I'm going to go hardcore for 2-3 months on, mountain biking or whatever comes along,
right.
And that's just how I am.
Yeah.
But podcasting has always kind of been there as a constant. Maybe I'm not the most regular with it, but there's definitely a love for it. And so there are moments when I want to say, forget it. I want to sell the mixer and the microphones and just not do it anymore. But I know as soon as I do that, or a few months down the road, if I were to do that, I would immediately regret my decision.
Yeah, you would. Because that's whenever I'd be like, all right, Ethan, I got the schedule. Like, let's do that.
I know.
Literally. Yeah.
It's like, how many bass guitars have I bought and sold over the last, 10 years, right? It's ridiculous.
It's like whenever you're like, it's like the adult version of like, we used to like, we'd buy and sell our Xboxes and PlayStations. Like a bunch of us would get Xbox, sell our Xbox, and then get PlayStations, then we'd swap, and then finally, I remember I just bought both of them. And, it was like, and we still didn't find a way to play games together. You know what I mean? It's just funny how it all works out. But anyways, well, I think that's enough heavy stuff for the top of the show. We've been going for a while now, but, I felt like that was a pretty good primer. So I wanted to ask you, like, we're going no notes. This is just straight up raw.
Yeah.
What's been new in your world? I know you've been playing quite a bit of Elite Dangerous. Tell us about that.
Yeah, finally concluded the Journey into the Void expedition. And let's see, we took off, I think it was June 3rd. I made my first carrier jump out of the bubble and headed off just into the black. Now, the intent was to go all the way across the Milky Way galaxy. Didn't get that far. But that's fine. that was a goal, and I decided that was too big of a goal.
Yeah.
So we actually got halfway across the Milky Way. We were right next door to the center of the Milky Way, and stopped the carrier out there and just went. And I journeyed out a little ways, a few hundred light years past the carrier, or away from the carrier, and just surveyed systems. And it was every system I was jumping into, nobody had been there before. 4 billion stars in the galaxy, you're bound to find something that nobody else has touched. And sure enough, it was a very, very nice pocket there where there was nothing. And I charted, I don't know how many systems. I lost count. I think the final total of what I turned in between planets and star systems surveyed and biological data gathered on certain planets, I think I raked in a total of about 2.5 billion credits.
Oh my God.
Which is nice. It will keep my carrier solvent for several years to come. So a very fruitful trip. Had to mine a whole lot of tritium. Tritium is the fuel that allows your carrier to jump 500 light years per jump. Had to mine quite a bit of tritium, and had to stop along the way back to mine a little bit extra to get us all the way back to the inhabited bubble. But all in all, a very good trip. The guys that went on the carrier with me, I saw a couple of them while out there. Seth was one of them. My brother was another. Got to spend a little time hanging out in chat with them while we were out mining tritium. It's experiences like that where you can hang out with people online and just talk. You're not talking about the game. You're just talking about life in general and just enjoying time. Mining is very relaxing in that game. I find it very relaxing, and had a few moments like that while out on this expedition. 6 months later, carriers parked back in our home system, back to doing a little BGS work in Idensu and trying to take the Anarchy faction to the top of the list and maybe expand them, do a little piracy, little murdering,
some killing.
Get my murder on.
Spartans, what is your profession?
But yeah, Elite it's like podcasting. Elite just continues to be one of those games that no matter what I'm interested in, Elite's always there, kind of in the background. And when I want to step into it, I step into it. And when I want to disappear for a month, I'll disappear for a month. But it's always there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am with Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing for you. I know you've talked about that at length. But like I said, I alluded to, I played Deliver Us Mars. That's a great game. Visually, puts you in space.
Was it Deliver Us the Moon? Was that their first game or their second game?
That was the first game.
Okay, I have that
2019.
I have that on PS5. So
Deliver Us Mars is the follow-up that came out this year. And it's good. It's worth the playthrough. So I've been slowly making my way through that one. Like I said, The Invincible. Look, it's based on a book that was written in 1964, and visually, the developer, Star Something Industries, they kept the look and aesthetic of that book of the early 1960s and just injected it into this sci-fi futuristic story. So yes, you are in space. Yes, you are an explorer in the same vein as a modern Star Trek or The Expanse or whatever, what have you. It's that, but it's also, look, some of the spaces look like June Cleaver's living room. It's incredible, just the visual, the aesthetic, and how the technology is chonky and analog, even though it's a digital display. It's really cool, and I really dug the experience. Yeah, in a lot of ways. NASA retro, I would say.
Yeah,
NASA retro. Lots of big dials and flashing lights and antenna and just. And beyond the technology, the visuals of the environment that it puts you in was really unique. It's the first game I've played, and I think it does even a better job than Deliver Us Mars. It's not in virtual reality, but I found myself getting just kind of lost on what I saw on the monitor, and just standing there and looking at the vistas that it gave me, and then on top of it, it's a really fantastic sci-fi story. So I can't highly recommend The Invincible. It's like $25, 25 or $29.99 or something like that. And for an 8 to 10 hour gameplay, you're not going to, if you're a space game fan, you're not going to find anything that I think is as highly engaging as this game is. So that's kind of my recommendation. If we're doing that sort of thing, I highly recommend The Invincible.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on it if it goes on sale.
Yeah. Firefly board games. That's the other big thing that's been going on. I've been loving it. It's that time of year. Gather around a table with friends and throw dice. That's been incredible.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Listen, Starfield is an incredible game, but it does get boring after a time, after you spend some time with it. And I have found that I'm there right now. I'm taking a break from it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad game and that I'm never going to play again. I will play again. It's going to be a little bit before I get that.
Honestly,
that urge.
Yeah, that's just how Bethesda games are for me. And for a lot of people, like, you play them and like, you don't realize everything you're doing in the moment, but it's like you're really like doing stuff. Like, you can't trailblaze a Bethesda game and like not just be constantly doing something. Like, you're always going to be grinding. And I think that's kind of what passively makes it boring all of a sudden, is like you just kind of get this feeling of like, yeah, I think I've kind of had all my thrills I can have right now. And until you get an idea, until you get an idea for another character, that was always fun in Skyrim, is like all the different races give you different abilities. Like the Argonians they can breathe underwater, and so it changes the way the game plays completely.
I will say this. I've seen other people's feeds on like Facebook and things like that, where they show you how something is different in their New Game Plus, right? And I'm trying not to go too spoiler heavy, but we are talking about New Game Plus. They show things that are like dramatically different from when you first play the game, right? And I feel a little bit of a letdown, because I've gone through a couple of New Game Pluses, but my universe is the same. It's like I've not seen any of those. My dice rolls, I guess, haven't come up well enough to where I get something dramatically different to make the game interesting again. And I think that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. But it's fine. It's fine.
Have you done all the faction? Have you done all the faction quests?
I have not. No. And I probably that when I fire it up again, that's probably a direction I'll go.
Yeah, there you have it. Yeah, I'm on a. I need to finish Starfield. I still need to get to New Game Plus. I haven't even finished the main campaign yet.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good.
I haven't said anything about the end of it.
I already know the twist though, so it's all good. But like,
okay, all right.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's funny. Like, Em and I, we play Fortnite. Like, that's like our main game. But I've been kind of down on Destiny recently. I just haven't really wanted to play it. I've mainly, the only thing that's been giving me true satisfaction lately has been like working on music, truthfully. So, and I've realized like for a while gaming wasn't like hitting like it used to, and I think like that was my mind telling me you need to do something else, like you need to work on something else. But now I'm kind of getting that itch to play games again. So it's like, now that I've worked on a couple of songs, a couple of them are coming out on Spotify soon, or wherever you listen to your music. But like, since I've done that, and I know I have a couple songs that I'm still working on, it's almost like subconsciously my mind's like, okay, now you can play video games. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you've got some projects in the queue. Like, now you can play video games.
Yeah.
So it's I do feel that we're me and my wife both were kind of phasing into hopefully a new cycle, like what you were saying, you know.
Yeah, you let off the show talking about lack of interest in certain things that you used to have interest in.
Yeah.
And I will speak to that for just a moment, because one game that came out in this fall that I did spend a little bit of time with was Forza Motorsport. And
I hopped into it.
Not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was good for a few hours, but I wasn't as impressed with the game as I thought I was going to be, which was a little bit disappointing. The weird thing is, it's been weird because, you know, our the FRL, right? And they're active on Discord, and they've been very active with the release of Forza Motorsport. So much so that they've already got a series put together, and starting this weekend is the first race in that series. And it's so weird to not be plugged into that.
Yeah.
I ended up, I took a step back. I'm no longer the head. You know, I don't head it up. I'm not the, whatever you would call it, chief,
the liaison,
the leader, whatever you want to describe that as. I stepped out of that position, promoting it, writing stories, things like that. That all of those things that I had been involved in, it's like none of it has interested me at all. So that's been very weird for me personally, knowing that it's out there but not wanting to be plugged into it.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why that's the case, but that's just where I'm at right now. And I'm just trying to be okay with letting it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been a weird thing. This is a weird cycle that I didn't expect to have to go through. But here I sit. They're going to race Sunday, and I don't really have any plans to involve myself in it. I'm not going to race.
Honestly, I think, you know, when you pick up and play a game, you know if it's quality or not. Like, if you're a gamer, you know, I get my hands on a lot of games, and it doesn't matter what game it is. Like, you can feel if it's quality or not. And I'm not saying that Forza Motorsport isn't quality, but it's baseline quality. It's not special. Like, it's
innovates, not a standout.
It innovates in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Like, if a race fan came to me, and I can say this because I have both games now. I bought Gran Turismo 7 on sale, and I know there's kerfuffle with that. That game is fun. The adaptive triggers, like, I've never, like, I'm racing almost like, you know, like, not every day, but like every other day. Like, I hop in and I do a couple of challenges, and like, I'm really enjoying myself with it. And like, it's like, yeah, I have zero desire to really ever, I have it downloaded on my PC still, but it's like, when am I going to feel the need to boot up Forza?
Yeah. So you've played Forza, you said. Does it legitimately feel flat to you? Like,
it feels, yeah. I mean, I played it for a couple of hours, and I was like, yeah, it feels good. Like, it feels good. But there was nothing about it that was like,
yeah,
it's not special. Like, it's the same. It's like the iPhone. It's like, yep, it's the same crap you did last year. Like, you know.
Yeah. The car that they picked for this current series, I cannot get excited about, because it doesn't feel any different than it did in Forza 6. And it's a different race car, but the game doesn't feel like it's not giving me anything more.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a new game. It's new software. It should give me something more. It should present me with something that is going to make it feel like it's worth my time, and it just hasn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, my enthusiasm for racing right now is really at an all-time low for like as far back as I can remember right now.
The next time we get, like, because, you know, we live in it's funny we're on Zoom, but like, we live in the same town. I want to bring my PlayStation over. And
that's a relative term. It's about a 45-minute trip out to your house.
Is it really that far away?
Close.
No.
Between 30 and 45. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, it is.
we get to because we drive past your house like on the way to meeting.
That's true. Yeah.
It's like 25 minutes.
25. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Depending on how fast you drive.
All right. I've finished my whiskey. I'm exaggerating.
Yeah, there you go. They blame it on the liquor as usual. Uh, but it's like, what was my initial thought there?
We live in the same town.
Yeah, we live in the same town now. So like when we get together next time, maybe we can have a little segment. I'll bring the PlayStation over, and I want you to get hands on with Gran Turismo.
I do have a new TV.
Dude.
I have finally upgraded to a 4K TV.
Dude, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, let's hook it up. Let's see what we got.
I think like literally, I mean, I don't know how long it's been since you've raced with a controller, but like
believe it or not, I so when Forza Motorsport came out, I got the rig out, I got the wheel, I spent a couple of days playing it. Did not like how it felt with the wheel. So I ended up taking the Xbox controller and just hooking it up to the PC, and that's how I've played for a week after that.
I'll put it to you this way. After you play Gran Turismo, I doubt like racing games with a controller will ever feel the same way. Because
this might not be a good idea.
Like, I mean, it takes it to a whole new level. Like, because you have resistance on your triggers, and you can see your gauges, and like you can see how much pressure you're applying with your brakes, and you have total control of it. And it's like like, and I'm not some kind of like racing wizard or anything. Like, I drive with the line on all the time. Like, that's how I drive. And like, it just feels really cool. That's all. And it sounds so cool. Like man. And then the replays, you have like a GoPro is behind you. So like, I've literally watched almost all of my replays because it's just really cool looking to see my guys like shifting, you know, and like trying to like go, like you can see where you need to adjust and stuff. And oh man, it's good. I really like. It was only like $40, so I was like, yes.
You need to. Yeah, at this point with that comment, I'm not a race car driver. You need to recut Primus. Jimmy was a race car driver, and just put Gabe. Gabe was a race car driver in there.
That's funny. Josh Fitzgibbon showed me that song one time. That's so funny.
Josh Fitzgibbon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you met him.
I worked with him for a little bit.
I was with him when he tacoed the wheel in his 04 Subaru on a curb in Bentonville, Arkansas. Yeah.
Get wrecked.
Yep.
Get wrecked, Josh.
Love you, Josh. You're not listening to this podcast. I'm
he's
sure.
Definitely. He thinks I'm possessed, so he's definitely not listening. Yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. Like, I think that's just kind of part of getting older, right? It's like you always have an affinity for the things that you really like. Like, I don't know. I'm not some sage or like I'm so old or whatever, but just because I'm not actively pursuing it doesn't mean I don't have fondness or, you know, enjoy it. It's just not what I want to do right now, you know? And like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not. Like I said before, everything comes in cycles, and wherever you're at in that cycle right now, it's fine. Accept it and just go with the ride.
Go with the flow. Go with the flow.
It's a good song about that too.
It is. Why one of the greatest bands of all time. Some might say the greatest band of all time.
Well, let's not go that far.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Ethan, as I mentioned at the top of the show, I have no notes, and I pretty much touched on all the things that I wanted to talk about.
I'm good.
So you're good here too. Don't you just love it whenever it just comes together like that and like
no this do you feel that? Do you feel that?
I do.
We're done here.
We are done here. It's like I could keep going, but that's when we need to stop, you know? No after party tonight.
Yeah, don't push it. No after party. No, we're good.
All right.
Let this be our stepping stone to the next time.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we want to leave a little bit of fuel in the tank so that we actually are happy to do it. And like, not even I'm always happy to do it, but like, I want to have the energy to make time to do it and like commit to it. It's been really hard these past few months to commit to anything. Yeah. So That there's a light at the end of the tunnel always, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Punch Counterpunch from the Wannabe Network. I've been, it's been really great to just get behind the microphone, and these are the types of shows I really like to do. And this is, going to be somewhat the style that, Emma and I use moving forward is a little more candid, I would say, natural. There's no sense in like hiding how you feel. Obviously, we don't want to, if you have something that is politically incorrect, don't be bringing that up. But just always remember to be yourself. It's really important. There's not enough of that happening, and maybe that's why there's like no passion anymore. So with that, let's leave a little passion there, and I'll see you all next time. How about that? Good times. Noodle salad.
Catharsis.
Yeah, there you go.
Is
Ethan,
a beautiful thing. Oh,
one more question for you,
yeah.
Ethan. What was it like during the Jurassic period?
Is this an old person joke? Because I'm not down for that.
Later, guys. Hey there. Whether you've stumbled upon me through my music channel, my gaming channel, or perhaps a podcast, I genuinely appreciate you taking a moment to chill out here. I've got a real passion for what I do, and, there's just something about creating that keeps me coming back for more, and I really don't think that's ever going to change. I'm really stoked to share this journey with all of you. If you want to see all the various projects that I'm associated with, all those links are down in the description down below. Also, you can check out my website where I like to write stuff as well. I put a lot of sweat and love into this because I genuinely enjoy it, and it's not just work to me, it's a real passion. So once again, thank you so much for showing up today. It really means a lot, and I'm going to finish playing myself out here. See you next time.